Hello everyone, my name is Dante No. Today I'll be talking about the criminal justice system for my communications class on the project of information. So let's get started. What is the correction system? Well, the correction system is the process of which a individual goes through when being accused or accused of committing a crime, right? And being accused or have committed a crime. So, the criminal justice system can be broken down into three sectors: the police, the courts, and the corrections. The police job is to start the investigation and determine whether a person might have committed a crime, and they'll then enforce that and bring that to the courts. So the person isn't necessarily have committed the crime until they have reached the courts. Then the court's job is to find or figure out whether or not the person is guilty or not guilty. That is one of the two goals that the courts do. So once the courts have figured out if the person is guilty or not guilty. If they're not guilty, they'll go away with the rest of their life. Go on with the rest of their life. If they're found guilty, the courts then will provide an order or sentencing. This order and sentencing has a variety of things to it, depending on what type of crime is committed, if it's a misdemeanor or a felony or a high-level felony, or if it's just some small little misdemeanor like that, right? So small misdemeanors, normally fines or some community service, while something like a felony might do some time in jail or house arrest, something like that. Or maybe even prison, depending on what type of crime and the scenario and the person's history of the crime. So, after the courts have decided the order or the sentencing, what they want to give to the individual or the one who has committed the crime, they'll then go to the corrections part of the system, which is the last part. The corrections job is to hold a person accountable for the orders given by the courts. So let's say, for example, the courts give an individual a order of 6 months of community service. The corrections job is to make sure that person is to fulfill that, right? And if they have to oversee and watch that person, not necessarily heavily, just watching that they're logging in their times and they're actually doing it, right? On a higher sense, say the courts gave an order that a person has to go to prison, right? The corrections then are to facilitate this person and oversees every step of their move, right? Every move. They are to watch this person and provide for this person, providing as mental health, physical health, if they need medications. Their job as well in the corrections, and they're holding that person within the facilities, is to provide those resources to them, because those criminals are now their liability, right? So in conclusion, what is the criminal justice system? The criminal justice system has three parts: police, courts, and corrections. Police is to start the investigation and determine if someone might have broken a crime. Then courts is to determine if a person has committed the crime, right? And give their sentencing or their order. And the corrections is to hold the individual for their crimes that's committed and the orders given to them to the fullest, while providing all the necessary resources for the individual or the criminal to be able to do that task efficiently and effectively.